Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about 19th century conservatism and challenges to the concert system. Conservatives believe that only traditional monarchical institutions of government could maintain order, and they were generally opposed to change. Next, we're going to look at an evaluation of the Congress of Vienna that met from 1814 to 1815 to decide issues involving Europe. The Congress of Vienna was criticized for ignoring the liberal and nationalist aspirations of so many peoples. The leading statesmen at Vienna underestimated the new nationalism and liberalism generated by the French Revolution. The balance of power remained in effect for almost 100 years as a result of the Congress of Vienna. It wasn't until the unification of Germany that took place in 1871 that the balance of power was upset. In the next unit, we'll be talking about the unification of Germany. The greatest achievement of the Congress of Vienna was that there was no general European war until World War I. That's almost 99 years after the Congress of Vienna took place. So, here are some reasons for conservatism. Conservatism arose in reaction to liberalism and became a popular alternative for those who were frightened by the violence unleashed by the French Revolution. Early conservatism was allied to the restored monarchical governments of Austria, Prussia, France, and England. Support for conservatism came from the traditional ruling class, and it was also supported by the peasants. Conservatives believed in order, society and the state, faith and tradition. They also viewed history as a continuum. A continuum is something that keeps going and only changes slowly over time. Conservatives argued that stability and longevity, the ideas not of progress and change embraced by the Enlightenment, were the marks of a good society. They also argued the only legitimate sources of political authority were God and history. They rejected the social contract theory promoted by the Enlightenment. Conservatives believed that self-interests do not lead to social harmony, but to social conflict. Therefore, they denounced individualism and natural rights. To conservatives, society was hierarchical. In this case, hierarchical means a society arranged by levels of importance, with the church and royalty holding the highest places in society, and the peasants the lowest positions in society. So we're going to be looking in a few minutes at revolutionary movements that arise in the mid-19th century. Specifically, we're going to be looking at Spain, Italy, and Greece. Uprisings also take place in St. Petersburg during this period. Okay, so the Concert of Europe. It was developed to maintain the status quo the European leaders had established. It established the principle of collective security. Periodic meetings were held to discuss common interests and examine measures to maintain peace. 4 of the significant congresses that were held between 1818 and 1822 are going to be discussed. The first one is the Congress of Aix-la-Chapelle, and that in that Congress, 4 powers met, and they agreed to withdraw their army of occupation from France. They also added France to the Concert of Europe. At the next Congress, the Congress of Troppau, they were concerned about the threat to Austria's domination of Italy. So Metternich proposed the principle of intervention. The proposal was that the great powers of Europe would send armies to countries that were engaged in revolutionary activity in order to restore the legitimate monarchs. The British rejected this proposal. However, the other European nations were in favor of the principle of intervention. So this principle of intervention takes place in the Congress of Laibach. Austrian troops were sent to Naples to crush the revolt and restore Ferdinand I to the throne. Then, in the Congress of Verona, France was authorized to invade Spain to crush the revolt against Ferdinand VII. This action resulted in the restoration of the Bourbon monarchy. Also, just a note, these topics are covered on pages 623 and 624 of your textbook. Please be sure to refer to that and to know these topics. Okay, so here we see a political cartoon of the Congress of Verona, and you can see now that you have the major powers of Europe making decisions. And interesting in this political cartoon, down in the bottom at the foot of the Austrian person representative, you have little Prussia being cradled. Also what you see is the other European leaders stepping on smaller revolts that are taking place in Europe. So let's review nationalism, because this is the reason for the revolutions that take place during this period. Nationalism emphasized the value of one's own culture and tradition and the desire for self-determination of different ethnic groups. So next we're looking at Latin America, where you have these groups that are feeling very nationalistic. They want to be free of foreign domination. Prior to the 19th century, much of Latin America was dominated by the Spanish and Portuguese. Influential people in Latin America, such as Simón Bolívar and José de San Martín, were influenced by Enlightenment ideals and successful revolutions that took place in North America. The outcomes of these battles are discussed on pages 624 and 625 of your textbook. Independence movements also broke out in the Balkan states. In the previous slides, we saw that the major powers worked together to crush revolutions in Spain and Italy, but they also worked together to support revolutions when it suited their interests. This was the case with Greece's revolt against the Ottoman Turks. So the Greeks revolt in 1821, and England, France, and Prussia accepted Greece's Christian appeal and joined into a unified force that defeated the combined Turkish and Egyptian naval forces. At the Battle of Navarino, Greece, England, France, and Russia destroyed the Ottoman Egyptian fleet. In 1828, Russia declared war on the Ottomans. The Russians win this war and are given Moldavia and Wakalia as protectorates in the Treaty of Adrianople. The Treaty of Adrianople also allowed Russia, France, Britain to decide the fate of Greece. So in 1830, the Treaty of London declared the independence of Greece. So that's the end of our look at conservatism and challenges to the concert system. Also, we know that in this unit there are additional revolutions that take place. But next, what we're going to be talking about is liberalism.